This video is going to cover putting components into our Revit project. So we'll do some where we're just going to place them directly from the Autodesk library, and then a few too that we're going to create ourselves custom wise. So the first thing I'll do to fix sort of my issues is I'm going to finish up this porch area. So in our original Revit shed, or rather AutoCAD 3-room shed, this wall here extended out for like a little bit of an awning area above the porch, as well as then this wall here for this bathroom extended out and over. So we're just going to clean that up, and there's kind of two ways we can go about doing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on my level 2 floor plan, and it looks really weird because we're on level 2 here. But I'm going to create walls that just come out. So this here kind of has that wall covered a bit by our floor. So I'm going to start the wall tool, which is keyboard shortcut WA, or that wall button there in the architecture tab. And for my wall type, I'm going to use the exterior wall that we created. So mine's called custom exterior. Yours might be called something different. And for my location line, I'm just going to do it center to center with this bathroom one here. So I can change that here or here. And I'm going to change my location line to all center line. I'll leave it as this unconnected height. That's not really going to bug me. And I'm just going to go here and then over and then straight down as well. And then let's go look at it 3D for it. Which is great because mine are not inside out, but if they were, I could hit escape a billion times and I could use the space bar to flip these if they were. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them to the roof. So I'm going to click on this wall, attach top, click on the roof, click on this wall, attach top, click on the roof. And that way I have kind of that awning part filled. We do have a little weirdness going on here, but we'll fix that in our next video where we'll do some cleaning up of our views and our details. And then I'm going to go inside my building and I'll start placing some components in there. So I'm going to go into my level 1 floor plan, and we're going to place some components for our bathroom as well as then our bedroom and our work area here. So the first thing we'll have to do is load in components, because if I go to use the tool right now, there just really isn't much in there. So I'm going to load a family in, which again is our custom keyboard shortcut LF, or you could go into the Insert tab and click on this button here, but I'm just going to use LF. And then I'll load in just some stuff for my bathroom. So that's going to be in the plumbing category. And then I'm just going to bring in just this vanity sink here. So this has a countertop and everything underneath it already. So I'll check it off. You could check more than one thing and bring several things in. I'm going to load that. And now that I have it loaded in, I can use the component tool to place it. So that's going to be in the architecture tab, this button right here, or keyboard shortcut CM. To flip it around, we can use the space bar on our keyboard to flip it. And I'm just going to put this vanity just kind of centered under this window because that to me logically makes the most sense. And then I'll hit escape a bunch of times to end the command. If I wanted to load in a toilet and a bathtub as well, I could do keyboard shortcut LF. And then I'm just going to scroll down. We've got some showers as well. But I'm just going to bring in a 3D toilet and a 3D tub as well. So I just have both those checked so I can bring them both in at the same time. And I'll use load. And then when I go to start the component tool, CM, and it currently just has a bathtub here, but if I click, I can switch between a bathtub, or if I scroll up, there should be, I believe I loaded a toilet in too. Oh, there it is. There's also my toilet. When I go to place my bathtub though, you'll see that I have this no symbol, and that's because it's a wall-based component. So I have to be up on a wall in order to place it. And I'm just going to put it here. I'm aware that there's not if it's not long enough for this wall. Really, what would often happen too is if I hit escape a bunch, this tub would probably have a little bit of wall built out here so we could put like plumbing and everything behind it. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit type and I'm going to change this wall's or this bathtub's width. So I'm going to make it 5'6". And then I can kind of make this tub fit in this area better. Really, tubs would come a standard size anyway, but we're just going to pretend. And then if I want to put my toilet in, since I've already used LF to load it, I'm going to use CM to start the component tool. And then for my toilet, I'll do a toilet here as well. Not really the greatest bathroom of all time, but it's the best we can do kind of with the layout and size that we have for it. We'll also put in like a bedroom or a bed here in our bedroom. So first we've got to load a bed in. So again, that's LF. Now, since I'm in the plumbing category, if I try to search for bed up at the top, it's going to tell me nothing was found because it's only looking in that category. So I've got to click this X and I've got to go back to my all results. And I can look either in the furniture category or I could just search up at the top. So in the furniture category here, I'm going to just do a standard size bed and load that. And then I'll use component, which again is keyword shortcut CM. And if I want to change my bed size, I can do that in my properties. So I'm going to do like a queen size bed and put it maybe over here, or I'm going to put it, whoops, I'm just using my spacebar to flip it. I'm going to put it centered under these windows. And if I wanted to load in things like nightstands as well, I could do LF. See if those would be, they might be an indoor. Nope. What about storage? We've got file cabinets, we've got a credenza. Let's see if I could search for nightstand. If not, we're not going to worry about it too much. Might even in tables here. Oh, there it is. There's one. So under tables, I'll put a nightstand in. And then I'll use component to kind of just place two nightstands in. Really kind of just showing, you know, whoever might be interested in this building, like how much furniture can fit in one room. And we'll also make this into like a little work area. So I'll do LF. And in this tables option, I don't really like these desks, so I'm going to go back into furniture. Let's go back into all results, and I'm just going to search up at the top for desk. I'm going to use this one here. And it's asking what size I want. I guess I can kind of pick. Let's do a 4x4. And this is just, you know, what I want in this model. And then I'll use CM to load that component. And I could plop it on in the corner. I could have even gone a little bigger. I'll hit escape a bunch. LF to load in a chair. So I can even at the top search for chair. And I'll pick this one here. And then CM to place said component. If I wanted to move it maybe on an angle, I can't use the space bar to move it, but I can click on that chair and then use the rotate tool, click on it, set my angle first, and then what angle do I want it at? So that's going to be 2 clicks to kind of click it and rotate it in there. The last couple components we'll use will all be outside the building. So something that's really great or helpful in 3D or for your kind of renderings is to put a person there to help set a sense of scale. And so again, that would be LF to load in a family. And then if we go out into the entourage folder here, we have two options. We have a female and a male that we can put in, and there's also different people too that you can use. So I'm just going to use the female option and load. And then when I go to use the component tool, which again is keyboard shortcut CM, we have our people, and there's different options for people. My favorite personally is yin yin. And then I can use the space bar to flip her around as well and just kind of have her hanging out on my porch. And when I go into my 3D view, there's a person there to just kind of help give a sense of scale for the building. And when I go to do renderings in a couple of videos, she can show up to in a little bit more detail for the model. The last couple of components that we're going to place, we're actually going to model ourselves. We could find some to put in under like columns and beams, but I'm just going to create that privacy screen myself manually. So I'm going to first start it in just my level 1 floor plan. And then in the architecture tab, I'm going to click on the little arrow under the component tool, and I'm going to create a modeled in place component. I almost always use a generic component because it just makes it easiest to work with. And I'll click OK. And I'm going to call these ones columns. And then I'm going to create an extrusion. I also want to set my work plane. So I'm going to click on set or that arrow underneath set and say pick plane. And I'm going to click on this floor. And then I'm going to create a rectangle kind of in line here. And I want it to be, let's just place it generically. And then we can make it 5.5. Whoops. Let me Control Z because I wanted that to be 5.5 inches. And I'll click on one of this line to do 5.5. Whoops, I did feet again. There we go. I'll hit escape a couple times. And then I'm just going to move this. I just want to nudge it a little bit in so it's not right on that edge. I'll hit escape. I'll highlight the whole thing, and I'm going to create a copy through this button here, grabbing it, and I'm going to move it up, just straight up, leaving a little bit of space there, which seems good. Before I hit my green check, I'm going to go look at everything 3D, and I'm going to change my material here. Click on my dot, 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 and change it to softwood lumber. And I can check off this use render appearance box as well. So then I'm going to click OK. I'm going to hit my green check. And we have our two columns here, but they just are not going as high as we want. We can change its number here, or we can drag up to the height we want them to go to. And then I'm going to hit my green check again to finish my model. And so now I have these two columns. I can even go and click on them again and drag this down so that way they're seated into the ground. And I just dragged them even further necessarily than I wanted them to go for it. And then we could do from our east elevation or even from the 3D view and create the 1x6s that create that little privacy screen there. So I'm going to look at my building in the 3D view head on from the right side of the building. And then I'm going to go into my architecture tab, click on the little arrow under component, and I'm going to model a component in place. Again, most of the time I'm going to choose a generic model, and I'm just going to call these ones boards. I'm going to set my work plane. So I'm going to use pick a plane, and I want this face of the model. If it's not highlighting, you can either orbit around a little bit to make sure the face highlights, or you could cycle through your tab clicks. You could do this face or this one as our work plane, and then I'll go back to looking at it head on from the right. I'm going to create an extrusion, and I'm going to use the rectangle tool to just start it right on this corner. I'm going to go just straight over to the very edge. I'm going to click this number to make it 5.5 inches. And then for my material, I also want softwood lumber. Now, when I hit my green check, it's going to be a lot larger than I wanted it to be. But I can click on it and pull it in to be a lot smaller. And I'm just going to make it just the thickness of kind of where I have these offset in. I could also even change the exact amount here or here to be like 3/4 of an inch, because that's what a 1x6 would be. And then I'm going to hit the green check again to finish the model. Then I'll look at my building head on from the right. I'm just going to click on this and scooch it up a little bit with my arrow keys, maybe even in ever so slightly on either side, just so there's a little gap there. And then I'm going to make copies of this with a 6-inch gap in between. So to make a bunch of copies going all the way up, I'm going to click on this board and then use the array tool. I'm going to grab it by this top corner up until that blue witness number on the left says 6, and then click again, which, whoops, let me hit escape a bunch of times and Control Z. I meant 1 foot, not 6. So array, click on the corner up until it's 1 foot. So that way there's a 6-inch gap. And then it's kind of a guess of your numbers. So if I try to do 5, 5 isn't enough. Let me try to do 8. And 8 seems to work pretty well. So then I can just click off of it to close. And then I have my little privacy screen there. And so that's going to be my components for the building. In our next video, we're going to go over some of our details and tags and visibility, as well as work on our building section.